Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss the legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedoms and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, the President and General Counsel of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country in the courtrooms of America. Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedoms.
Liberty Counsel continues to advance freedom, life, and family. We'll talk about it today on Faith and Freedom. I'm Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel and dean of Liberty University School of Law. Joining me is Matt Barber, director of cultural affairs for Liberty Counsel and associate dean at the law school. Matt, this week we're talking about what Liberty Counsel was involved with, at least a sampling of those matters in 2010. We can't by any means touch on everything, even in a full week program. Yesterday we talked about religious freedom. Today we want to talk about the sanctity of human life and the family. And we've been involved in a number of situations in both of these significant areas. Now, we filed the very first private lawsuit against Obamacare, challenging the authority of Congress to pass this huge expansion of government that limits freedom and funds abortion. The litigation continues. Now we're at the Federal Court of Appeals, and our brief is due in January of 2011. This case will, no doubt, one of these cases, ours or someone else's, will actually reach the United States Supreme Court. And I believe at the end of the day, this law will be ruled unconstitutional.
I think you're right, and we know that this law, this Obamacare, is hostile to innocent human life, that it mandates federal funds that are used. They use kind of a straw man, smoke and mirrors scheme to get it done, but it essentially means that taxpayers will, out of their own pocket, be funding abortion. That's unconscionable. So we have filed a lawsuit on that issue as well as others. We're really on the fast track before the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals. We're kind of at the front of the line, if you will. As you point out, we don't know whose case will ultimately be decided before the United States Supreme Court, but there's certainly a good chance it will be our lawsuit.
That's right. We're the first one at the furthest advanced in the Court of Appeals right now, so ours likely will make it to the United States Supreme Court. But this is a huge case. We need your prayers and financial support on this case because we're battling against the federal government. And we believe at the end of the day we will win. This is the huge expansion not only of government but of abortion funding as well. We also led a federation, we'll talk about this on the last day of this week, of organizations representing over 30 million. Now it's up to about 40 million people around the country to oppose the Obama health care. Now, we weren't successful in opposing it legislatively, although we really fought it, kept them occupied with that issue so they couldn't push some of their other agenda, like the Employment Non-Discrimination Act. Mm-hmm. And it barely passed. But then when it did, we moved from the lobbying side of things to the litigation side, and now we're fighting them in court. So we've got multiple ways to be able to advance life. With your prayers and your support, we're able to do that. We also joined national leaders and spoke to thousands of people on Martin Luther King Jr. Day in Houston, Texas, where the largest abortion clinic by Planned Parenthood or anybody else in America was opened in a predominantly minority neighborhood.
And that's, unfortunately, that's Planned Parenthood's eugenic past. Their scheme is that they clearly are targeting minority groups, and their founder, Margaret Sanger, has said as much. She was a racist, and so they put these massive Planned Parenthood abortion mills in these lower income areas where there are minorities there. We protested that. We're pointing out, and finally, I think a lot of people are waking up based on the education that we provided in this past year, to the fact that Planned Parenthood is engaging in minority genocide here in the United States of America, and they're specifically targeting minority people.
Well, we also filed a lawsuit against New Mexico Public Schools there because they actually suspended some students for handing out plastic models of unborn children. These were like small little 12-week-old from gestation age plastic models of unborn children. They handed them out. It's some of the things that they've done in the past. They've handed out different kinds of cookies and so forth, and they had a scripture verse on them, and they were told that they were offensive, and they stopped them. That case is currently in litigation. We also took on the defense of Susan Pine. She's a person who has been a sidewalk counselor in West Palm Beach, Florida, for many years. She had an abortion a number of years ago, so she realizes the tragedy of abortion. She's trying to save other women and children from that same tragedy. Well, the Attorney General, Eric Holder, based upon pure ideology, trying to advance the radical abortion agenda of President Obama, filed 5 freedom of access to clinic entrances lawsuits on the same day, one of them against our client Susan Pine, asking for $10,000 in fines, making an allegation that's simply not true. We filed a motion to dismiss. They realized they were going to lose. They ended up having to withdraw that complaint. They've refiled it again. We're going back into court to ask this frivolous lawsuit to be dismissed. But if we weren't able to be there, Matt, here's a lady who would be the target of the United States of America, which is chilling in and of itself, being requested to pay $10,000 in fines, with the Department of Justice coming after her because she's pro-life. She didn't break any laws. It's just an intimidation tactic, and we're not about to let President Obama or Eric Holder or anybody else in this administration intimidate these pro-lifers into silence.
There's a word for that, Matt. It's despotism. The strong arm, using this power, the full weight and power of the federal government to go after this woman who is exercising her First Amendment right. This is not blind justice. This is not the Justice Department engaging in justice. This is clearly politically and ideologically motivated. They're radical pro-abortionists, and they seek to go after the weakest and least of these people who are standing up for innocent human life in a peaceful manner, even manufacturing accusations about blocking traffic and stepping in front of vehicles and so forth in order to, as you say, send a shot over the bow so that other people will be intimidated and fearful of engaging in such First Amendment expression.
Well, we also successfully defended the Mississippi Personhood Amendment against a lawsuit brought by the, of course, ACLU, Anti-Life Organization, and Planned Parenthood. And now the measure is moving forward, and we're still working to make sure that it's on the ballot in November of 2011. On the traditional family, and by the way, we're also working on other personhood amendments, trying to get those on the ballot and defending those where necessary around the country. And those amendments essentially say that you have humanity, and you're recognized as a human from the moment of conception. Just like the Declaration of Independence says that we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. Traditional family. We've been involved in a lot of different situations. We had a moot court that we held at Liberty University School of Law in defense of a case that went to the United States Supreme Court where homosexual advocates were trying to get the names of petition signers that were pro-marriage. We also joined with Liberty University School of Law and conducted a symposium, a 2-day symposium on homosexuality and the threat of the homosexual agenda to the First Amendment. We consulted with the American College of Pediatricians on the launch of a new website and the release of a letter to every public school district in America that warns educators not to promote homosexuality. And we argued at the Florida Supreme Court against the Florida Bar to stop one of its sections from filing a brief in favor of same-sex adoption. We also delivered over 135,000 signed citizen petitions to Congress against the so-called hate crimes bill, and we've done much more in 2010. Yeah,
and unfortunately, the hate crimes bill you just mentioned, they pushed it through, but as you talked about earlier, we were able to keep them, Congress, liberals in Congress, occupied and focused on that. President Obama has signed that bill into law, but by virtue of the fact that they were spending so much time on that, other dangerous bills did not get passed through.
That's right. And we also we did a lot of other things. We worked on several things. We attempted to intervene in the California Proposition 8 case. We were resisted on that situation, and we weren't able to get intervention. We felt that there was problems in the defense of that case. We're now filing in a brief at the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. We've already done that, waiting on a ruling from that court. Liberty Counsel has been advancing life and family and religious freedom in the courts and through education and through public policy all over America. We're not just defensive. We also take the offense to advance these freedoms. We need your help as we look back in 2010. We're very pleased and humbled at all of the different matters that God has called this mission and this ministry into. But we couldn't be there without your prayers and without your financial support. Especially at this time of the year, December is a very important time as we close out our year end and get ready for 2011, and there's a lot of great things happening as we move forward in 2011. We need your call. We need your prayers and your financial support. So call us today at 1-800-671-1776. You can ask for someone right there at Liberty Counsel if you want to make a year-end gift. If you want to give stocks or property, you can ask for someone at Liberty Counsel. They'll put you in touch with Matt Brock. And also, you can give contributions over the internet right there on the website, lc.org. And if they're postmarked or put on the internet before December 31 midnight in your time zone, then it'll be counted as a tax-deductible gift for 2010.
You have been listening to Matt Staver of Liberty Counsel. Our hope is to encourage and inspire you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedoms. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email update. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.